Dr. Simone Dubois was a pillar of her community, but sitting on a park bench made her a suspect. Her moment of peace was shattered by the crunch of gravel as an Oak Ridge patrol car slid into the lot. A second one followed, blocking the only exit. For the two officers who emerged, she wasn't a doctor enjoying the sun. She was a problem that didn't belong. The lead officer, Kincaid, had a stare that sized you up and found you guilty. Nice suit, he thought, his eyes raking over her expensive clothes and handbag. Must be new money, or drug money. His partner, Bodine, hung back, his hand already resting on his sidearm. Afternoon? Kincaid's voice was flat, holding no courtesy. Is there a problem, officers? Simone's tone was perfectly calm, a stark contrast to the sudden tension in the air. Kincaid ignored her question. This is a residential park. What's your business here? I'm taking a brief rest after a board meeting at Crestwood Children's Hospital, she said, her posture becoming rigid. You live in one of these houses? Bodine chimed in, his gaze sweeping across the luxury homes that bordered Willow Creek Park. The insinuation was clear. No, about 20 minutes away, Simone replied, her voice even. Why is that relevant? Kincaid stepped forward, crowding her space. We got a 911 call about a suspicious individual casing the neighborhood, he said, letting the words hang in the air. You match the description. Simone glanced around the empty park. A woman on a bench is a threat? Out loud, she stated firmly, I'm not breaking any laws, officer. A smirk played on Kincaid's lips. We'll be the judge of that. Let's see your ID. She gave a slight nod, her hand moving deliberately toward her purse. Of course, it's in my wallet. Freeze! The command was a gunshot in the quiet park. Show me your hands, now! Simone's hand stopped midair. The peaceful park now felt like a cage. I was just getting my ID for you, officer. On your feet, slowly. For what possible reason? Her voice was quiet, but it carried the weight of a woman accustomed to being heard. Ma'am, stand up. She rose with practiced control, a lifetime of experience teaching her this exact posture. Hands out, palms open. Kincaid gestured for her to turn around. As she did, she saw a jogger slowing to stare, a mother pulling her child close. You're not under arrest, Kincaid grunted from behind her. Just detain while we get this sorted. Before she could ask what there was to sort out, she heard the cold, metallic ratcheting of handcuffs. The steel bit into her wrist, then the second cuff snapped shut. Officers, you are making a serious mistake, she said, her voice like stone. You were acting suspicious, Bodine muttered. That's all the reason we need. Simone turned her head, fixing him with a glare. Minding my own business is suspicious? Silence was her only answer. Taking a deep breath, she made a request. I need to make a phone call. The officers exchanged a look. Kincaid shrugged. Go ahead, on speaker. With her hands cuffed behind her, she used a voice command. Call Clay. It rang only once. Simone? The voice on the other end was deep, calm, and immediately alert. Her composure cracked for a split second. Dad, Talk to me. What's your location? Willow Creek Park, she said, her voice steadying. I'm being detained. A resident reported me as a suspicious person. A beat of silence, then. Are you hurt? No, just humiliated. She saw the officers shift uncomfortably. I'm on my way, he said, his tone hardening into something cold and absolute. Put me on speakerphone. Simone looked at Kincaid. He wants to speak with you. The officer gave a dismissive wave. The voice that erupted from the phone was coded in ice and raw authority. This is General Clayton Dubois, United States Army. You are currently detaining my daughter without cause or justification. Kincaid and Bodine froze, their smug arrogance instantly evaporating into shock. This call is being recorded for a judge advocate. I am 10 minutes out. You will remove the handcuffs from my daughter. You will not move her. You will wait for my arrival. The line went dead. A thick, panicked silence fell over the park. Kincaid, the picture of control moments before, swallowed hard, his face pale. Bodine finally stammered, his eyes wide with fear. Why the hell didn't you say who your father was? Simone stared back at him, her expression a cold mix of pity and contempt. "Officer," she said, her voice dangerously quiet, "why should that have made a difference?" Kincaid and Bodine didn't have an answer. There wasn't one, but they weren't the only ones watching. The jogger across the lawn was now filming. A teenage girl, phone held high, approached Simone. "Ma'am, are you okay? What did you even do?" Simone met the girl's eyes and answered with devastating simplicity. "I sat on that bench." The girl's jaw dropped. "That's it? They put you in cuffs for sitting?" She whirled on the officers. "Are you kidding me? It's standard procedure, pending investigation." Bodine snapped, his voice cracking under the pressure. "Procedure," the girl scoffed, pointing her camera lens directly at their faces. "Yeah, right. Hey everyone, Oak Ridge PD is arresting women for sitting in parks now, keeping us all safe." Just then, a third cruiser screeched to a halt. A stocky, gray-haired Captain O'Malley got out, his face a mask of fury. He took in the scene, the distinguished woman in handcuffs, his two petrified officers, and a growing audience of citizens recording every second. "Kincaid, what in God's name is this?" O'Malley barked. "Sir, we had a 911, a suspicious person call. She matched the description." "The description was what, Kincaid?" O'Malley's voice was like grinding gravel. "Say it out loud." "Black female, on a bench, just observing." O'Malley's gaze fell on Dr. Dubois. He saw her impeccable suit, her unshakable dignity, and the raw steel on her wrists. "And that warranted cuffs?" "She reached for her bag, Captain." "Officer safety." O'Malley stepped so close his badge was inches from Kincaid's face. "Did she threaten you?" "No, but..." "Did she disobey a single command?" "No, sir." "Then get those cuffs off of her," O'Malley commanded, his voice a low, lethal hiss. "Right. Now." With trembling fingers, Kincaid unlocked the handcuffs. Simone slowly rubbed the angry red marks on her wrists, her eyes burning into his. At that moment, a black Lincoln Navigator, silent and imposing, pulled up to the curb. The driver's door opened, and the air crackled with energy. General Clayton Clay Dubois emerged. He was tall and broad-shouldered, with an immovable presence. He wore his full-dress uniform, and the 4 silver stars on each shoulder glittered like furious constellations. This wasn't just a father arriving. This was the Pentagon stepping onto the grass. The onlookers fell silent. The jogger lowered his phone. The general stopped directly in front of Simone, his stern features softening only for her. "You okay, honey?" "I am now, Dad," she said softly. His gaze dropped to her wrists. The red marks screamed against her skin. "They put you in cuffs?" She simply nodded. He turned and the warmth in his face vanished, replaced by a glacial fury. His eyes found Captain O'Malley. "Who's in command here?" "That would be me, sir," O'Malley said, his authority a flimsy shield. "I want it all," the general stated, his voice calm but absolute. "Body cam footage, the 911 dispatch logs, the full audio of the initial call. My JAG officer will be in contact within the hour." "Understood, sir." General Dubois retrieved his daughter's bag and tablet from the bench and handed them to her. Then he turned back to Kincaid and Bodine, his voice cutting through the park's stunned silence. "My daughter is one of the most respected pediatricians in this state, a community leader. But today, none of that mattered because her presence made someone uncomfortable. You didn't see a citizen. You saw a target." He stared directly at Kincaid. "The only reason she's not in the back of your car is because of me. That isn't a failure of procedure. It's a failure of your character. You should be ashamed." "Sir, this incident will be taken very seriously," O'Malley insisted. The general shook his head. "Serious doesn't fix this. This was about judgment, basic human decency. You either have it or you don't." He turned to Simone. "Let's go home." As they walked to the Navigator, every phone recorded their path. Before getting in, General Dubois paused, his voice carrying across the entire park. "To the person in the silver Lexus RX who made that call," he said, his eyes scanning the nearby houses. "I hope you're watching, because your life is about to change." The Navigator pulled away, leaving chaos and career-ending silence in its wake. The story was already a wildfire online. The teenager's video, now titled "Cops Cuff Doctor, Then Her 4-Star General Father Shows Up," was exploding across the internet. The hashtags Rashad Justice for Dubois and Rashad General Intervention were trending nationally. Inside the quiet luxury of the vehicle, Simone let out a long, shuddering breath. I wasn't scared, she said, her voice barely a whisper. First I was furious, then just embarrassed. She shook her head. Now, Dad? Now I'm just tired. He reached over and took her hand. I know, Simone, he said, his eyes fixed on the road. I've got you. You don't have to say another word. Her phone hadn't stopped buzzing, a flood of alerts from news outlets, military families, and a text from a fellow board member at the hospital that just said, "The world is watching. Give them hell." It was more than a video. It was now a symbol. On every news channel, the scene from Willow Creek Park played on a loop. The officer's arrogant smirk, the cold glint of steel on a black doctor's wrists, and the sudden, stunning arrival of consequence. A legal analyst shook his head. This isn't about a mistaken identity, he told the host. This is about the power of assumption and the reckoning that comes when that assumption is dead wrong. Her phone rang. It was the PR director for Crestwood Children's Hospital. Simone, we are behind you 100%. The board is ready to issue a statement. Simone thought of every woman who looked just like her, who had faced a man like Kincaid, without a 4-star general for a father. Not yet, she said, her voice like steel. When I speak, it won't just be for me. The next day, Captain O'Malley held a press conference. Sweating under the hot lights, he stumbled through a hollow script about a full internal review and his officers being placed on administrative leave. It was the empty language of damage control, and the country wasn't buying it, especially not the general. That afternoon, he held his own press conference. There was no podium, no official seal, just the front lawn of their home, Simone at his side, and a wall of cameras. My daughter is a doctor. She sat on a park bench to enjoy the sun, General Dubois began, his voice calm and clear. She broke no law. She threatened no one. She was handcuffed because someone in a silver Lexus decided she didn't belong there. That is the beginning, the middle, and the end of this story. He paused, looking at Simone, then back at the microphones. The only reason those cuffs came off is because of the 4 stars on my shoulder. That isn't justice. That's privilege. The system didn't protect my daughter. I did, and I shouldn't have had to. The reporters were silent. So let me be perfectly clear, he added, his voice hardening. We are not interested in a closed-door apology or a financial settlement. We demand 2 things: the immediate termination of the officers involved and a complete overhaul of this department's training protocols. Then Simone stepped forward. I have built my life in this community, she said, her voice steady and powerful. I run a children's hospital. I am a daughter and a doctor. But when I sat on that bench, none of that mattered. In their eyes, I was a problem that needed to be removed. She didn't raise her voice. The truth was loud enough. The real reckoning happened the next morning inside the cold walls of the Oak Ridge police station. Officer Kincaid walked into Captain O'Malley's office with a defiant swagger, expecting a slap on the wrist. O'Malley didn't ask him to sit. The internal review is over, Kincaid. The Pentagon has provided my chief with a federal complaint for obstruction of civil liberties. He slid a single sheet of paper across the desk. This is your resignation. You can sign it, or you can take your chances in federal court. Your choice. Kincaid's arrogance shattered. The color drained from his face as he stared at the paper. Your badge and weapon, too, O'Malley said, his voice devoid of sympathy. On my desk, now. With a shaking hand, Kincaid unclipped his badge. The sound of it scraping across the wood was deafening in the silent room. Then came his service weapon, hitting the desk with a heavy, final thud. Stripped of his authority, he was just a man in a cheap uniform, whose career was over. His partner, Bodine, was permanently reassigned to the evidence vault, a career buried under boxes of cold cases. And the anonymous caller in the silver Lexus RX, their identity was leaked online within hours. They were now the most infamous resident in Oak Ridge, their home a landmark for public scorn. The city council promised reform, but for the 2 disgraced officers and the resident who started it all, the verdict was already in. It hadn't been delivered by a court. It had been delivered by a family that refused to be broken.